All right, Lights, Camera, Barstool movie review time. We're talking Priscilla, new A24 movie directed by Sofia Coppola. Uh, it's not just about Elvis, but yes, it's another movie involving Elvis that has come out in the last 2 years. Pretty solid cast with two young stars off the top. That's the ones that stick out the most. In the lead role, Kaylee Spaney, I believe how you say her name. I may be saying that wrong. Plays Priscilla Presley. Jacob Elordi plays Elvis, who's in everything right now.
Saltburn, baby.
Solid, yeah. Saltburn coming out soon. Solid critic scores on Rotten Tomatoes, 84% for about 177 reviews. Audience score less or so, 62% from the audience. Sofia Coppola has quite the interesting filmography. But I would also say a bunch of her stuff that I don't even I don't love, I still kind of like just because of her style and like what she does. Like even something as bad as like The Bling Ring.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
I don't even like not, but like there's a style to her stuff that I do enjoy. And obviously she did Lost in Translation, which is fantastic. The Beguile from a couple years ago, which was very interesting and different. Colin Farrell in that, Nicole Kidman. Who else was in that?
One more girl.
Kirsten Dunst.
Can't remember. There we go.
Yeah. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to give a score, and I'm going to say I liked it, and then I'm going to do gymnastics to say why I like the Austin Butler version better, even though I did not give it a higher score. 86 out of 100. I quite liked Priscilla. It's first of all, I will say, we joked about it on the show. We talked about it on Hot Takes. They are two very different movies. Like, it's not even like from the same fucking planet. Like, these are like two different universes they're from. But Elvis is in it prominently in both of them. When teenager Priscilla meets Elvis Presley at a party, the man who's already a meteoric rock and roll superstar becomes someone entirely unexpected in private moments, a thrilling crush, an ally in loneliness, and a gentle best friend. Yeah, it's a very interesting movie in terms of how it's set up. Almost like a romantic thriller, like kind of like horror-ish type thing. It's really like dark in that sense, and tells a pretty, I guess, like raw story in that way. This is not like a fun biopic. Not that Elvis was either. It was a fucking wacky movie, but I don't want to say it's not safe either. Like, I don't think it's like a safe movie. My critique of it, we'll get to when we go to cons. I think we're all going to have pros first, but I enjoyed it. I think it's good stuff from Sofia Coppola. I like the way she directs and makes movies, and I think they're two good performances off the top. 86 out of 100. Good movie. Really good movie. Ken Jack.
Yeah, I'm right next to you. I had it an 85. Like, that was when I left the theater, and it was like this first thing I said, just almost out loud. I was like, that's an 85 overall right there, and better than Elvis. But I really liked a lot about the movie. I think it was almost like watching a drama about a regular relationship, like, except it just happened to be about one of the biggest relationships in pop culture history, which I think is very cool and very difficult to do something like that without it, like, you stopping and being like, oh, that's Elvis. Oh, that's Priscilla Presley. Oh, that's whatever. And like, I think that's something that was really done in an excellent way because it humanizes them, you know? And that's two people, like, for us, people our age, like, we don't know shit about really any of that. Like, we didn't grow up with that relationship being like pervasive throughout everything. Or even Elvis at all. So, like, for us to be able to watch that and see them just kind of as like two human people that are fucked up in whatever ways, like, I think was very well done. Production value was crazy good. Great, all like costume design, like the cars, the shit they were wearing, all of it was just incredible. Couple little like nicks that we would throw out they say about, but we'll get to that in pros and cons. Really liked it a lot. And like we mentioned, hot takes kind of cooked a little bit, but we'll talk about that more later.
Jack, you were in the kitchen. You were in the kitchen. Yeah, I'm at an 82 out of 100, and I'm glad you brought that up about, like, it's just a very relatable movie, despite it being about one of the most famous people who's lived in the past centuries, and his relationship with Priscilla. I felt it's very nuanced in how it takes on that relationship. And Sofia Coppola, you can see a lot of her, I don't want to say self-inserts, but a lot of the ways she likes to talk about relationships kind of pops up here. And I enjoyed it because I like the way she views that, and I like the way she directs it. And I would recommend this movie to anyone who, if you felt like Elvis last year wasn't scathing enough or wasn't critical enough or didn't take a deep enough look past the surface level of Elvis's life, this does an even better job despite Elvis not being the main character. Like, it is just so much better, so much more well written.
Oh, yeah. Nowhere near as bumpy at all.
Not even close.
Like, it is very well written.
We'll transition to the pros with that. That is for sure. If you want a comp, which I do think it's not a 1-for-1 comp. They're obviously two insanely different movies, but it is, in terms of Elvis stories, it is that again. I love the other Elvis. I gave that one an 83. I really liked it. I had a great time with it. I like Baz Luhrmann though. That is something worth noting. But it does it's a rocky fucking start, that movie.
Yeah, first third. One of the worst first thirds I think I've ever watched in a movie.
Yeah, no, I feel like the Elvis movie with Austin Butler wanted to show Elvis the legend, the myth. This movie really did just show Elvis like the person and paid respect to him as performer. It wasn't like they're like, oh, he doesn't know any, like he clearly he knew what he was talking about with fashion. I mean, he was talking about fashion nonstop in this movie. And they did show him as like the performer that he was, like the dedicated performer, like the musician that he was, like talented, but they were much more willing to go places that Elvis from last year just wasn't and had no interest in going.
Yeah, no, I agree with all
I'm trying to find a funny tweet. Hang on.
There's been a lot.
Well, I'll move it to cons because I got to find a tweet. Yeah, I think, and then we'll talk more about like the subject of the movie, which is not truly Elvis. I think Allure does a really good job. I think they're two very different. But Austin Butler playing the music biopic, bombastic Baz Luhrmann artsy version of Elf, which I think is great, and I still think fantastic. Allure, like the grounded, like off stage version, he's very good. He's very, very good.
It is very funny. I went home after I watched Priscilla and I started watching Elvis, and I turned it off after like the first like half an hour. It's so jarring to try and watch those two movies back to back because they are so different, and like just for what they're trying to achieve, Priscilla just does blow it up in a lot of different ways. Like fucking the Doja Cat scene while he's trying to go to talk to BB King. Like fuck you, Baz Luhrmann. Fucking loser.
So Kaylee Spaney really good in this. Like I actually think like one of the best performances of the year in this. I think she's very, very good as Priscilla Presley. Like really commits everything, and you connect and you feel the emotion of that character the whole movie. And you know my biggest takeaway was, I wish Sofia Coppola had done the Princess Diana movie with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Spencer. That's actually exactly what it reminded me of. I remember saying, like, I wish that movie had committed a little more to, like, kind of, like, the quote-unquote terrors that she was going through and, like, kind of, like, the horror of, like, the world she was wrapped up in. Like, I wish that had been – they'd committed much harder to that with Spencer. And I was like, you know, Sofia Coppola would have done a fucking great job with that. That was my like, first thing I thought about when I left this movie. But she was great.
She was really good. And I think there was points where, especially in the second half of the movie, when she was becoming, like, just, like, a wife and mother and all those things, where it's like this does just look like a child, and I'm like, I kind of wish they like did a little more to age her up, but I feel like that was done with purpose because she was just that young, and also like they want to make a point of that, so I get it. But like the scene where like she walks out and she first has like the black hair and beehive and stuff, I'm like, that's just a child wearing a wig, and like it was a little off-putting for a second, but again, that's part of it. That was just part of the actual story.
Yeah, I mean, she was still like 18 at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, whoever did the hair and makeup did a fantastic job because when she's 14, she looks 14. I mean, I checked when I left the theater to make sure it was the same actress because I was like, she looks so young there compared to the end of the movie. But yeah, no, she was great. I wouldn't be shocked if she sneaks in for a nomination at the end of the year, especially it being a biopic and it being her movie. That's just the kind of performance that Academy voters just love. They love. Mm-hmm. Is Allure, by the way, is he a leading man? Is he a future leading man? He's very tall and almost too good looking, but I do think he's sneaky. Might be a good, like very good actor.
He might be in Brad Pitt territory where he's he's got the A-list movie actor like face, but he has like the beat, like the character actor ability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will say, like, I have always kind of viewed him as like this Netflix rom-com guy, but now I don't anymore. Like, he's clearly got like different chops. Like, he's built a little differently than I might have. It's the Shaq name. I wasn't familiar with your game.
I wasn't familiar with your game. Yeah.
Yeah. When he's not in the 9th
Right.
version of a Netflix rom-com, it's like, oh, okay, this guy's got something.
He's on the Kissing Booth 10 with Joey King or whatever. It's a very different side of him. I think his Elvis is really good too, for all things considered. And again, like you can, a lot of this is just, it is what it is. You're gonna have to compare parts of it to the Austin Butler Elvis. But like, dude, he read, I think he said he watched 15 minutes of Elvis clips before he auditioned, gets the role, really doesn't do like this insane regimented thing to get it, and he nailed it. I thought the voice was really good.
Yep.
Sounded a lot like him. They made a point not to do the singing, which I think is smart. And I think that like everything else, as far as like mannerisms, sort of like getting this, towing this line where like the Elvis that we see in the movie Elvis, right, is like this bombastic, not real. Like that's just not a human being. You know what I mean? Like not a real person. But the Elvis we see in Priscilla is like a real. That's a dude. It's just a regular, kind of like a regular guy in this like insane situation, and like you can relate to him as a human being. And again, obviously the same thing with Priscilla. And we had talked about this, I think, ahead of the movie, where I was like, I don't really know much about Priscilla. Like, why I don't know why I should be like heavily into this or anything like that. But I think they do a really good job of like not only showing who she was as a person, but like why she became this sort of like icon later on, and like her, and again, so isolated into the world of just this relationship without really exposing it all to the outside world. It's almost like claustrophobic, you know? Because like you don't go to the outside world really at all. It's like her in her parents' house or her in Elvis's house, and that's it. And it's almost like, I don't want to say like a stage play, but like it is very claustrophobic, and I'm assuming that's almost what she felt like, right? Because like her entire life is just kind of like bombarded with this fact that she's married to like the most famous man on earth. So I think that, and at the same time, again, keeping it very intimate and only kind of within the scope of her relationship to Elvis, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, again, that's like I hate talking about another movie that's against the exact same thing. I was like, fuck, this is what we said the critiques were from that Princess Diana movie. It's like, oh shit. And that one is an even more fucked up story. Like that story is fucking, and this is, I mean, it's all relative, but like obviously there's some demons here and some bad things here, but like the Princess Diana story is fucking, I mean, people think that she was killed. So
I also, by the way, the humor in Priscilla, pretty funny. The scene where he's like reading philosophy in books, is like, I was like, dude, cracking up, dude.
That was one of the funniest scenes I've seen the entire year. Like so fucking. He's like sitting there with his fucking glasses on, and he's he's like, I've started to read.
Reading all my books, baby. Reading all my philosophies.
Then he takes off his glasses, and he's like, I don't think I want these anymore. And just cuts straight to a book burning.
And that's like a great like meta or bigger commentary on like the, you know, the mansplaining modern dude guy thing too. And it's like that's still going on in the 50s, and I think that's a nice little insert, very funny. And they had a good amount of those like little tiny funny moments. You know what I mean? And I think
my audience got that too, which I loved.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that's a joke that I think some theaters just like don't get. Like, but it was so funny. My theater loved it.
Dude, I was cracking up. There's a couple other scenes like that too, where they're very funny. I can't think off the top of my head, but that one specifically, the philosophy books, is what that got me bad. I was dying at that.
The one where he's dressing her up is like, it's fucked up what he's doing. Like, you know, like making her dress up in these different clothes and telling her how to dress. But when he's like, no, brown doesn't suit you. You need to be wearing solids. I'm like, this guy, he's the little kid from Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's like, fashion.
Yep. Fucking beast,
like,
man.
He talks so much about like clothes and like how to wear her hair, like the whole movie, which is like driving home how controlling he was. But at the same time, it's like, Elvis, good Lord.
I like when they were showing that too in the when they like gets the residency in Vegas. That little montage of him like going through all the capes and all the performances, I thought was really sick too.
Yeah, that was really one of the only times you got to see him.
Exactly.
I guess that was the only time he performs in the movie.
Exactly. And no Doja Cat in this, big plus.
No
modern rap songs, no modern anything songs, rather. Just I think that's probably a smart move when you're making a movie about Elvis, personally, in my opinion. But I know you guys feel differently, but I thought that's a personal.
There were some, maybe, like I think my only like real takeaway is like there's a couple things where I wish she would have gone for maybe a little more. Like it doesn't need to be Baz Luhrmann, but there were a couple parts. There were some times where like I think this could have like a little more life, a little more, I guess, pizzazz. Maybe that's because that's just like. Maybe that's again. That could be why I like the other Elvis movies so much. Like when I think of Elvis, I just think of that big in your face stuff, which is that's not like a unique take on Elvis. But there are points where it felt a little like bland in that sense. But again, I liked it. Like I think it's good. It's a really good movie. The best thing I can say about Sofia Coppola again is like even when it's a movie that I don't like I still like what she does. I like what she puts forth. Like I like her style, like the type of movie she makes. Doesn't always hit. Again, The Bling Ring probably the best example in terms of like recent things. But no, I quite liked it.
Let the record show Jeff wanted a Sexy Red song to play while Priscilla was talking to Elvis about getting divorced.
Yeah, I wanted a like Macklemore song.
Like, I will say
she leaves the apartment. It's like in the 3rd grade, I thought I was gay or whatever that song is.
Downtown. That song. Oh, bang.
I'll wear your grandma's clothes as just leaving the fucking complex. That ending was so abrupt. But like in the moment, I was like, "What the fuck?" But then, like when I left, I was like, "Oh, that was really good." Like the second the relationship ends, that's when it ends.
Yeah. See, are we in cons now? I do feel like the pacing was. If you're gonna go for one big glaring issue, I think the pacing is just a little all over the map at points. Moves quick at the beginning, really slows down, and then real fast at the end.
Yeah, I did. Again, the theater. I remember because I was sitting with my fiance, and she's like, "Was that it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's weird, right?" And then we left, and I was like, "That's again like the movie starts like the literal second this relationship kind of begins in a way, and then the second it ends, it's over." And that's like again the whole kind of movie taking place only within the scope of this relationship. I think with purpose, I think was really cool.
Yeah, I would highly suggest going to see this movie. I think this is like, there's a couple things in theaters right now that I think you need to go see. I think The Holdover is one. I think this is another one. I think they're very good, under the radar, not going to get a ton of love, like mainstream wise, but like this one should. It's A24. I think I'd go, like, honestly, if you want to like go see 2 movies in a weekend, I'd go see Holdovers and Priscilla back to back. Go check it out. 86 for me, Kenjack 85. Gooch, remind me of your score.
82.
So yeah, we all quite liked it. That has been Priscilla, the Priscilla Presley movie featuring Elvis. It's a feature for Elvis. Though very prominent. Lordy, very good job. Next week we're doing 2 movies, The Marvels, and then it feels like we did RRR around this time of the year last year.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna dip back into going outside of American movies. For I believe, is it Joanna? How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's an Indian Hindi language movie, action thriller. It's on Netflix. Check it out. Set a bunch of box office records for Hindi films. So yeah, we're gonna watch it. We did it last year. There ended up being probably my favorite review of last year. We did. So we're gonna rip this one next week. It's on Netflix. So go watch it.
The main character is like Joker mixed with Robin Hood. I can't explain it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so go check that out. And then we'll do The Marvels as well. So we'll do both those movies next week. And then it starts to kick into gear a little bit. I think for the rest of the year, there's like something at least somewhat notable until the end of the year. I think we have Hunger Games coming out soon, which I'm actually like kind of excited for the new Hunger Games movie. I don't know why. Like the recent trailers actually, I didn't love the first one. The recent one I've kind of liked. So we'll see how it is. Yeah. That's it. Leave your review in the comments below for Priscilla. Let us know your thoughts on the movie. What was better, that or Elvis? Subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube. Like the video if you can. It would help us out a lot. That's it. For Ken, Jack, and Gooch, I'm Jeff D. Lowe. It's been a review of Priscilla. Talk to you next time.